What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to today's edition of How is Biggah Gonna Piss the World Off? Because, as you know, it's kind of what I do now. Today, what I want to talk about is occupation. Well, actually, I want to talk about occupiers. Pay attention. Like it or not, in regards to the conversation about Jews or Israeli people being colonizers or occupiers, that just simply is not the case. What do you guys know about the Assyrians, the Babylonians, the Persians, the Greeks, the Byzantines? How about the Islamic Caliphate or the Ottoman Empire? Did you know that Britain actually ruled Palestine? As a matter of fact, that is the people or the group that had ownership of that land when it was partitioned. What's super interesting is that there was never a point in history that the Jewish people left this land. No matter who was occupying it at the time, there was never a point in history where there were never any Jewish people on that land. That is why they are indigenous. More proof of that is Israel is referenced in religious prayers and practices that predate Islam. So, you know. Now, as I've said before, this is not to say that Palestinians or the people that are in Palestine right now, because they're not technically Palestinians, they would be Arabs. I'm not saying that they don't have any rights to the land. What I'm saying is that in the conversation about occupiers and colonization, the Jewish people, the Israeli people cannot be put into that classification. This is where they always were, period. In fact, if we're going to talk about colonizers, the biggest colonizers in the Middle East or the East period are the Arabs. And that is just a fact. They have consistently taken over places. They have consistently imposed Islam onto people. And that is, again, just a fact. As a matter of fact, the way that they were able to do this was through the Arab slave trade. Now, I know a lot of people are very familiar with the Atlantic slave trade. At least I, for sure, only really knew about that until a couple years ago. But the Arab slave trade is actually the oldest, the largest, and the longest running slave trade in the history of history. Guess what I'm going to be talking about next? As you know, I ran into a little bit of a snag, so I'm going to be changing some things on the page. Basically, I'm not going to be giving the trolls the energy that I was giving them. And actually, that's pretty much going to be it. I'm going to also start a backup page. I will let you guys know when I do that. If you disagree with anything I've said, that is absolutely fine. If you feel the need to comment it, fine. But if you actually want to engage with me, you're going to have to agree to a live, which means that you're going to have to show your face and stand on what it is that you stand on. We're not going to go back and forth in the comments, and if you become too disrespectful in the comment section, I'm just going to block you. This is not something that I like to do, not something that I would normally do, but it's now something that I have to do. So it is what it is. As always, have the day that you deserve.